Hey guys, so welcome back. Today's video is a huge one. In today's video, we're going to discuss how you can go about getting your permanent residency after you cross 35 years of age. So now this route can also apply to candidates who are below 30 years of age but have a low CRS score. Hey, this is Jason from the Immigration Consultants. So I hope for this video you have your pens and notepads ready because we're going to be dropping in some valuable piece of content to smoothen your immigration process. So without wasting any time, let's get into it. Under the human capital factors, if you're between 20 to 29 years of age, the maximum points you can score is 110 points if you're single. And if you're married, it's 100 points. However, if you are applying under a non-accompanying spouse, as it may be in some cases, in that case, the maximum points you can score on your age is again 110 points. So post 30 years, every year on your birthday, you will see a drop of -5 CRS points on your profile. Example, if you're 30 years old, you lose 5 points. If you're 31, you lose 10 points. If you're 32, you lose 15 points, and so on. So the older you get, the more challenging does it become to immigrate to Canada. The minimum cutoff score for the Federal Skilled Worker Program is 460 plus. So in an ideal scenario, your age ought to be somewhere between 20 to 29 years of age. You need to have at least double bachelor's, a postgraduate, or even a master's degree to stand a chance. In your work experience, you should have at least 3 years of work experience with an IELTS score of CLB 9 or above. Well, so if you're above 35 years of age and you still wish to immigrate to Canada, in that case, I would recommend you stick around till the end because we're going to discuss two additional routes besides the Canadian Experience class under which it would be a possibility for you to immigrate. And this could probably apply to the most of you. So launched on the 1st of Jan 2015, the Express Entry is an online immigration system. This system allows you to submit your profile and considers you as a skilled immigrant to Canada. So the higher you rank in the pool, the more chances you have of getting a permanent residency. So the current system replaced the old system, which was more on the first come first served basis. In fact, the old system led to long queues and eventually a loss of skilled employees. In fact, there were times where a candidate received an ITA after he had passed away. So the current Express Entry system manages a bunch of economic immigration programs. These include the Federal Skilled Trade Program, the Federal Skilled Worker Program, the Canadian Experience class, and some provincial nomination programs. So the whole concept of the new Express Entry system is to get skilled workers from outside Canada, take their skill, education, and other human capital factors and apply them to the Canadian economy. So one of the pathways to immigrate to Canada post 35 years of age, or for that matter, even if you have a low CRS score, would be the study permit route. So if you want to wear a 2 to 4 year graduate program in Canada, could almost guarantee you a permanent residency for Canada. So this is because as soon as you finish your 2-year course in Canada, you are eligible for a 2 to 3 year postgraduate work permit, which gives you an opportunity to work in Canada post your study course. And while you are working in Canada with your Canadian education and your Canadian work experience, while in some cases even an offer letter would do, you can apply for your Canadian permanent residency. So the study permit route is ideal for couples who want to move to Canada and in the past couldn't do so just because of their age. So the way this works is one of you will enroll in the study program, whereas the other spouse would work full-time to meet the daily expenses of the family. Now, you may think that you may have already studied enough and you may have reached a point where studying again could pose a challenge for you. Now, remember, your main motive is to immigrate to Canada, and a study permit would ultimately reward you and your family with the Canadian residency. So the way this works is one of the spouse who is eager to study further would apply for a 2-year diploma course or maybe even a master's from a recognized Canadian college or university. So while studying, you can even work part-time since you have a study permit. And this would not only help you with your daily expenses, but would also help you with your permanent residency. So how does a study permit benefit you? So if you're applying for your study permit and you're from a few select countries, which include India by the way, In that case, you can apply under the student direct stream. Under this stream, your study permit would get processed within 13 to 14 days. Now, while you are allowed to work part-time for around 20 hours a week because of your study permit, on the other hand, your spouse can work for unlimited number of hours to meet your daily expenses, while you can even manage to save up on a good credit score in Canada at the same time. Now, for some of you, the study permit route could be expensive, but what you are doing in this route is you are building up valuable Canadian points, both with your Canadian education and your Canadian work experience, which will ultimately lead to your Canadian permanent residency. So look at this as a great investment. But let's talk about the things most education agents don't want you to know. First, remember nothing is free in this world. Everything has a price. So how often have you gone to an education agent for a study permit and been given three stacks, right? A, B, and C, in some cases C and D also, and been told that you can choose a college from any of these stacks. It's absolutely free and there is no cost involved. Have you ever stopped to ask yourself that once you've selected these courses that has been offered to you from the education agent, how would those courses lead to you getting a permanent residency? Now, most of the courses offered by the agent are predominantly in Toronto or Vancouver or in Montreal. So how would that help you achieve your goal of getting a permanent residency? Now, have you ever stopped to think that from 106 registered colleges in Canada, you get to choose only from 3 or maybe 5 colleges, and that too for free? So I'm sure you can read between the lines here. So my formula to getting a permanent residency via the study permit would include planning. You need to plan for a course that would ultimately lead you to permanent residency. So the way this works is your permanent residency depends on the total number of years you have worked in Canada. Now, the total number of years you worked in Canada indirectly depends on the course that you have selected when you first went to Canada. So as you can see, there is a direct relationship between the course you select in Canada when you first go there and your permanent residency. Hence, total number of years that you would gain, which would eventually lead to your permanent residency, must be either in NOC code 0, A, or B. Now, if you select a wrong course, there is a high chance that you may not get a job in these NOCs. In fact, you may get a job in NOC C or maybe NOC D, but that in turn would affect your permanent residency application. So another strategy I use with my clients often is selecting the right province to study. Before you take up a study permit, it's very important you do a research on the job market in that particular province. So upon completion of study, you would easily get a job, and that in turn would lead to a smooth immigration process. So keeping in mind the student study course, another important strategy that we use is selecting the province that favors international students. So once a student completes the course on that province, he or she would be eligible for a PR either via the CEC or even via the pilot program. So a good example of this would be the Atlantic provinces in Canada, where under the AIPP International Graduate Stream, you can get your PR by graduating from one of the designated colleges or universities in Atlantic Canada. In this case, you would not even require any Canadian work experience for your PR. Another strategy that you could use is probably select a college that is under the Rural Northern Immigration Pilot. And if you graduate from any of these universities or colleges, in that case also you could get a permanent residency via the RNIP program. So remember, while planning your pathway for permanent residency via the study permit, it's very important that you do your research, because the course you choose will ultimately lead to you getting the work experience in Canada, which eventually in turn will lead to you getting a Canadian permanent residency. So there are plenty of universities that can offer you an alternate pathway to permanent residency in Canada. And these are just a couple of examples that I've discussed with you. So if you like this video, do like and subscribe to this channel. I'll see you in the next one.